Okay. I think it's starting over because it's asking me for things. So I'm going to say got it.
Okay.
Start. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Spurdy Surapaneni, and I am a staff psychologist here at the Counseling Center. With me, I have.
Yuan. I also go by Rachel. I was an international student when I was an undergrad here at UCI, and I'm currently serving as the doctoral level intern at the UCI Counseling Center, seeing all the UCI students.
All right. We're here to talk with you about the possible adjustment process you might go through during your stay here in the US. We're also going to describe to you some of the signs of stress that you might recognize, share with you some of the available mental health services on campus, and specifically the ones at the counseling center. All right, we're going to start off by showing you all a video of the diverse range of international students that come to the United States, their arrival to the US, and their experience with adjusting to this new environment.
My first day here, my family came with me. It was a mixture of excitement and just, apprehension. Like coming here, I think I made a lot of memories that are really important for me.
It was like I was a newborn baby here. Like I need to know how to order the food. Like I need to know like how to take the public transportation. That's sort of part here.
It was scary, but it was, I don't know, the thrill, I guess. It wasn't too bad.
I used to have like friends problem here cause like I came here alone and the friends who I played with before they didn't come here, so it's like a total new environment for me.
I made new friends. I became so close to American culture, and like just experiencing this new life is definitely something amazing for me. Adjusting to the new culture was well, it's hard to say because it was not difficult, but it was also not easy. I think it's tricky because you think German culture and American culture is very much alike because they're both Western cultures. But then when you get here, you see those subtle differences, and then it's like then you have to get used to it.
Initially, adjusting to the new culture was kind of difficult for me because of so many differences, like new set of people. Like even like in our culture, when we talk to people, we usually don't make eye contacts, but here it's like all over, like looking in the eyes and being confident and like saying what you believe and stuff like that.
Maybe Americans are a little bit more like peaches. They can like soft surface. It's like easier to maybe get to know them and they're friendly. But then when you get at the core, it's like harder to get through there. Like it's harder to take that step and know that I found a true friend. Whereas in other cultures, and I'd say Germany is one of those. I forgot what the comparison was. Maybe walnuts or an apple, like something that's like harder to like get into. But once you're close to someone, you know you found a true friend to rely on.
Just as the video showed us, that some students do have challenges in adjustments, but some have also had some positive experiences. So at this point, we want to just go through the adjustment process and the multiple steps along the way. I know this graph seems very technical, but we will simplify it to its essential parts. Starting with that, when you first arrived to the United States, and we arrived to a new country, right? Most of us are pretty excited, we're ambitious, we're motivated, and overall we're in a positive mood. Like, some of us might be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go check out San Francisco or go to LA or, some of the cool areas that are here in California. And so there's just excitement. But slowly, as we try to adjust and we try to settle in and do the daily tasks and things, I think someone in the video was like, oh, how do I order food? How do I do some of these things? Right? We slowly start to see that impact maybe our well-being. We start feeling more tired or burned out. And sometimes we may also just feel homesick, where some of these things were easy to do. We didn't have to think about them too much, right? And then, so that's where kind of that fatigue and some of that stuff was going to settle in, and the homesickness as well. But slowly but surely, most of us will figure out those daily tasks and feel more settled in. And our mood will improve, our engagement will improve, and we'll shift more from kind of being self-focused to other-focused. And so by doing that, we form deeper relationships, connections, and maybe feel a greater sense of kind of connection and belonging here in the host country. Okay. However, as we move towards creating relationships, talking with individuals, we might find out, oh, wait a minute, some of the traditions or the ways that we carried ourselves looks very different from how people in the host country might. And so with this can come some culture shock. You might say, oh, I didn't know that, or I'm not sure what that means. And so you might struggle to be like, why is it different here from home? And then slowly, the holidays come around in November and December, and we may feel even more kind of that low mood because a lot of our domestic friends go back home, campus becomes more empty, and you yourself might not be able to go home because of time restrictions, visa restrictions, and so it might just feel like a little bit of a lonelier time. However, January always comes around, and the students come back, your friends that you've made here come back, and because you've adjusted a bit better, you're able to start kind of learning from them and saying, hey, I noticed these differences, but instead of that being a conflict, it's a place to learn and grow, and maybe even just adjust some of your own expectations. And so therefore mood usually increases. And then, that is where you are, you create these relationships, and then in 4 years, 5 years, how many ever years, as you come to graduation, some of you may decide to stay here, some of you may decide to go back home, but whatever it may be, it's going to be a transition, and that you're going to have to maybe say goodbye to friends, goodbye to experiences, goodbye to UCI, and so with that can come a bit of lowering of mood, but overall, people, get through that part and readjust, be that back home or to their new environment here in the US. All right, while we say all of that, homesickness is real and we do not want to downplay that. And so we define homesickness as the distress that we all feel when we're away from our home, our family, our community. And so oftentimes homesickness is accompanied by feeling lonely, missing those people who were close to us, who maybe understood us very easily and readily. For some of us, it might be rejecting the host culture, feeling like, it's too difficult, it's too hard. I wish I was home where everything was easier. And that can come with sadness and some anxiety, as well as just longing for, home. We also want to share that about 30% of international students, wherever they go, be the United States or somewhere else, do experience some level of homesickness. And so if you're experiencing it, you're not alone. With that said, for most students, homesickness will kind of go away as they adjust to the host culture, make friends here, make that community here. But for some students, it may prolong. And so in the next slide, we'll share a little bit about some of the signs of stress that you can be aware of. All right. So we know that stress can have a profound effect on college students' well-being. And so if you're stressed, it's probably going to have a profound effect on your well-being. And so it's important to identify some of the signs and symptoms that may relate to this stress. So some of the physical signs of stress include maybe you notice just an increase in headaches. A lot of times students will say, I feel more tired, I feel more sick, more susceptible to being ill. A lot of times students will say, I feel tense, I have more muscle aches, tightness, and overall just feeling tired and fatigued. And some of the emotional signs of stress that you might notice is Oftentimes people will feel more irritable and angry than they usually do. They may feel like, oh, I'm more disorganized. I feel like things are all over the place. I can't get an order. There's often a sense of like everything is, coming to the deadline. I always feel like I don't have time. I feel pressured in that sense of time as well. There might be more difficulty getting things done that were easier for you before, or classes might feel harder, connecting with friends might feel harder. And overall, for some individuals, it might feel like, oh, I feel helpless or hopeless about how to cope and how to sort of move forward. It's also important to really recognize that there can be differences in cultures around what signs are more readily seen and accessible. And so please be mindful that sometimes you might be more aware of the physical signs, more aware of the emotional signs, or both and. But if you do notice them, this might be also a time to, recognize that seeking out some support and help might be good.
Yeah, and when we're talking about seeking help, mental health support or help, here are some very common myths of mental health counseling that may be held in our own culture. So one of the very common myth about seeking out mental health support is that only people with severe problems seek counseling. So this is actually false. The fact is, counseling can be beneficial for almost everyone. It does not mean that you are crazy or insane, you're not normal. And common reasons why students seek out support counseling at our center includes academic difficulties. Maybe they're just struggling with certain classes. For international student, it's common that because you're taking classes in a completely different education system, you're not really understanding how classes are, how the structure of classes are like, and the formats of exams or assessments, and the language difficulty to understand your professors and difficult to communicate what you know with your peers and classmates and group projects. So that is a common reasons why students seek out support. Sometimes it could be time management. If you're for most of us, we're attending college for the first time and it's in a new environment in the US, then time management can be very challenging. And when we are having challenges navigating so many things, it's easy for us to procrastinate, meaning that we may not want to do work until it's last minute. But then when we're always just doing things right before the deadline, it can create more stress. It can create some negative impact on our grades, and that could be really challenging for a lot of students. And another common one is for both domestic student and international students adjusting to college life and just navigating the feeling of homesickness away from family, familiar environment, familiar friends. That can be very difficult. And unsurprisingly, another common reasons why students seek counseling is depression, meaning that they may be experiencing low mood for 2 weeks in a row, or lack of feeling of joy, lack of motivation, things like that. Sometimes even struggling with things like thinking about like ending life or hurting self. That sometimes could be reasons too. Again, unsurprisingly, stress and anxiety, that's a common reason. And also, since we're human being, when we're always in relationship with other people, either with academic advisor, as said on the slides, sometimes it could be with roommates, because you and your roommate may have different lifestyles. It could also be making new friends or maintaining old friendship that you brought home from home to the US, or navigating romantic relationships here. So relationship problem can also be a common reason student would like some support and counseling. Another one is family difficulties. If you're experiencing some difficult relationship dynamics with your families back home, or even family here in the US, we can be a source of support as well to navigate that. And lastly, but also not uncommonly, sometimes we may experience loss, and then we are going through a grieving process. Sometimes it could be a significant individual in your life. It could be a family member. It could even be like your pet at home. And sometimes if you are experiencing that and struggling to process that, you can seek out some support from us. So it does not mean that if you're seeking out counseling support, you're crazy. It just means that you can use some support from a professional to better navigate these challenging life situations and scenarios. Just to further elaborate on what to combat the myth that I was talking about, here are some of the top 10 presenting concern that was seen at the UCI Counseling Center last year. So basically 2023 to 2024 academic year. So as you can see here, the top presenting concern that was seen by us was anxiety. So 74% of clients presented with some anxiety challenges. The second one being stress. 61% of clients presented with some stress-related challenges. 54% presented with depression, meaning low mood or lack of pleasure, and a combination of some other symptoms. And then 41% presented with some self-esteem issues, maybe questioning your worth, your belongingness in UCI, in the US, or a combination of both, or some additional context. 39% of people presented with academic challenge. 37% presented with a loneliness, so struggling with homesickness, maybe difficulty making new friends or feeling connected or establishing like deep connections with other people. And 35% had some relationship related challenges. 33% of students struggled with attention and learning challenges, maybe difficulty sustaining attention, maybe challenges with procrastination or just learning. And 28% of clients presented with some sleep challenges, maybe difficulty falling asleep, difficulty maintaining sleep, and difficulty maybe waking up early on time or maybe sleeping too much. Lastly, family concern is also one of the top 10 presenting concerns that were seen by the UCI Counseling Center. So 27% of clients actually struggled with that as well. So just to normalize that, again, if you're seeking out support, it could be, it could likely be one of the above that I just mentioned on the top 10 list, and it does not mean that you're insane. And we're here to help meet your needs. And another common myth faced by a lot of students is that if I seek counseling, my family or professor will find out. And sometimes it is not an uncommon belief held by a lot of people, feeling that if I seek counseling, then other people from the school or even from my family will be able to see the record or know what you talked about in counseling. But this is actually untrue. And the fact is, all counseling services are confidential, but there are a few exceptions. So one of the exceptions is, let's say if you're presenting with some imminent risk, so meaning that you are posting a lot of significant concerns for your own safety or for another person's safety, or you are somehow looking like you cannot really take care of yourself in those kind of extreme situations, there will be some exceptions to confidentiality, but for the most part, what you shared with us is kept confidential, and your mental health record is not associated with your academic record at all. And that also means we cannot tell anybody what you said in counseling without your written permission, unless it's in the extreme situations that I talked about, or like more concerning situation we talked about. So that's the only exception, one of the main exceptions. And again, if you receive counseling from us, it will not show up on your academic record. So to just sum up, basically it's saying that unless we are really concerned about your risk, all the information you shared in counseling services are kept as separate, kept as confidential. And another common myth that I would like to discuss with you all is maybe therapy is expensive. and I cannot afford counseling. So it is true when you are not enrolled in UCI and you don't have any insurance coverage or any kind of support as just an individual in the society, therapy can be expensive. But here at UCI, if you're currently enrolled and have paid your registration fee, and for most cases, if you're an international student, those fees are paid, it's required for you to come to the US, then our service is technically considered free, meaning that you do not have to pay out of pocket. You don't need to pay for extra to receive our support at the counseling center. And it is separate from UC SHIP, which covers hospital care and medical care received off campus, as well as UCI Student Health Center. So that's some of the common myth, and hopefully by us providing a little bit more clarification and more information, you know that the services you receive are confidential, free, and then you seeking out services from us does not mean that you're crazy. Next, we're going to transition to talk a little bit more about services we offer.
Thank you so much. So some of the general counseling center services that we have, we provide a variety of services. So we have crisis care services. So these are for students who feel like they are maybe in an immediate crisis and need to come talk to someone. We'll go further into details about that in a little bit. We also do initial appointments, so a time where we can get you into our center and establish care. And through that, we provide short-term counseling, couples counseling, and group counseling. We also provide drop-in workshops, such as our Wellness Wednesday workshops that we hold every Wednesday at 1 p.m. But we also have workshops for our graduate students or those who are struggling academically. And our workshops change as we understand the needs of our students as well. We also provide referrals to the community. So if you're wanting to seek out longer term care and know that, we can help you with that. And then finally, we do outreach and consultation. So outreach is our way that we get into the community and share with you all our services, what we do, provide psychoeducational tools and skills. And then consultation is where, we have students, faculty, staff reach out to us if they're concerned about their own well-being or concerned about a friend or someone else, and we can help guide them through how to support themselves or the person they're calling about. All right, so who will my counselor be? So a lot of students are like, who's my counselor gonna be? Who are they? So the first thing we want to emphasize is that all of our counselors have experience working both with domestic students and international students. And so please know that as an international student, if you're coming to see someone, that they do have experience and an understanding of what you're going through. With that said, a few of our counselors are bilingual, such as having counselors who speak Spanish, Hindi, Mandarin, and Korean. Just to name a few, that's not all. But please do know that most of our counseling is done in English. But if you are wanting a more specific individual, you can always let us know. Okay, so we talked about our counseling services, what a counselor might be, but you might be asking, what is counseling, right? So it's important to realize that counseling is a relationship between a trained counselor and you as the client, and working together to really build a relationship that addresses your goals and your concerns, right? And so we want to emphasize that this can occur through one-on-one counseling, so where you do one-on-one focused goals, or it can happen through group counseling where you have one or more therapists and a group of your peers, and through that process help you through your concerns and your worries, okay? It's important to know that all of our counselors generally have a master's or doctoral degree, so they have high expertise in providing care and support for students. Okay. We also want to emphasize that counseling is a place where you can talk about your concerns in a safe, neutral environment. And some of the things that students who engage in counseling tell us that they've kind of gained or engaged in is a chance to explore their thoughts or feelings, a chance to learn more about themselves, and also a chance to create kind of active, adaptive solutions to their concerns.
So now that we know a little bit more about what services the UCI Counseling Center offers, we would like to also tell you a little bit more about specific information in terms of like where we're literally physically located and our hours of operation and ways to reach us. So we're currently operating on a more hybrid model, meaning that we're able to provide in-person service as well as telehealth, meaning that if you want to access it via the phone or via a Zoom, meaning on a telehealth remote platform, we can offer different kind of services through both way, except for initial assessment appointment, the initial appointment that you will schedule with us to understand what recommendation of service we will provide to you. That one we currently only offer remotely, but other services we can offer them either in person or remotely. And our lobby hour, as shows on the slides, it's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. as long as the university is open, and then we are open. So, but the general hour of operation, meaning that we are offering service both in person and fully remotely, it will be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So the full hour operation is slightly longer than the lobby hour, because we will actually, every day, Monday through Friday, our in-person service will actually conclude slightly 1 hour earlier than just remote services. But after our hour of operation, you're not without support. We still have services available to you, mostly crisis services after 4 and 5 p.m. So the way to access those support is by calling our main line, which is the number here on the slide, 949-824-6457. And if you select 2, then you will be able to be connected with a live counselor for your immediate concern. And you can also call the same number that I just shared to schedule an appointment for initial consultation, just to share a little bit more about what you're struggling with, what kind of service you may be looking for, and for us to have an opportunity to provide recommendations in terms of, from our professional view, what is an appropriate service for you to receive, and to go over that in a little bit more detail. And for you to be able to come find us to obtain or receive in-person care, we would like to let you know where we're at. So here is our physical location, 203 Student Services 1. But where is it specifically on campus is, if you know where the Starbucks connected to the hill, our bookstore, UCI bookstore is, facing the rain road, it will be right across. And we're on the 2nd floor of Career Pathway. So this is what it looks like here. So we are locating here, and I believe the UCI bookstore Starbucks is actually located right here. So right across the road, you'll be able to see a 2-story building with the 1st floor being Career Pathway, and we're just located on the 2nd floor on the left-hand side. So go up the stairs and you'll be greeted by our very friendly front desk staff. So let's say if you are not just, you are doing okay, you're adapting okay, and you have some support available, but you notice that you have a friend who may be struggling, especially if you're noticing that your friend may be endangered or posing some risk to their own safety or to others for any reason. What can you do? So we would like to actually also let you know that support is also available in those kind of situations. So when it's a very urgent and a very concerning situation involving that there is immediate risk to somebody's safety, we would advise and recommend you to call 911 so that you can reach the police, or to call UCI police, campus police at their number, Their number is showed here. It's 949-824-5223. So you can call them to get some immediate support if there is a safety concern. However, if you're sort of in the yellow range where you're like, I'm a little unsure if this is an immediate safety concern, during the business hour, so the hour of operation that I share with you, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you can always call the counseling center for consultation. So we already go over that. Consultation service is a service for you to, if you have any question relating to mental health, you can talk to one of our professional staff, our staff member at the counseling center to receive some recommendation in terms of what to do or what resources may be available to you. So call us at 949-824-6457. And even if it's after hours, so after 5 p.m., or during the holidays when we're on the winter break, a Christmas break, a summer break, you can call the counseling center and then select 2 to be connected with our after-hour service operation. And we will be able to connect you with a live mental health specialist to assist you with your need. And if it's in a less risky or less concerning situation where nobody's safety is at risk, you're just wanting to help your friend connect with mental health services so that they can process whatever is going on and get some emotional support. You can also refer the student just to the appropriate campus resource for example, you can recommend them to call us at the same number, but instead of asking for crisis service, then to ask to be scheduled with an initial assessment or a 1-session appointment so that they can receive some appropriate support if needed. So that's what about an overview about all the resources we offer on a more general sense, but we also would like to make sure to let you know about this very fun and interesting opportunity that our event that is hosted every week in collaboration between the UCI Counseling Center and the International Center. It's basically a space specifically designed for international students to get to know each other. It's a very casual and social space where students, sometimes also domestic student, will stop by too for domestic international student or just international students to mingle with each other, engage with each other in fun activities, conversations, enjoy some free coffee, free snacks, and sometimes free prize, free art and crafts activities, and just build connections with each other. So it's absolutely an opportunity for you to meet new people if that's something that you're struggling with, and connect deeper with your friends. Again, we provide free coffee, tea, refreshments, and it occurs every Friday actually from 11 to 12:30 p.m. at the Science Library. But in terms of the counseling center, we are only there because sometimes we're needing to meet more demands faced by the campus department, campus body. We're only there every first Friday of the month between 11 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. at the same exact location. We will have our separate table to answer some questions and just have some conversations with you. We would love to see you there. And lastly, we would like to share this with you. Please connect with us on social media and virtually. So the way that you can do it is to scan the QR code and then follow us, and you will be able to access all the way to connect with us. In addition to that, our website, UCI Counseling Center, has all the information you need also, and all the information that we covered, most of the information we covered here today. So feel free to check it out as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for listening to us. We hope that this presentation gave you some basics about the counseling center, what we do, but we know that no presentation can cover it all. And so we encourage you to always reach out to us at our number or through our website or through our social media to learn more. We're here for you. We're here to support you. So please do not hesitate. Thank you so much. Take good care. Zat zat.
Welcome.